Hello, friend. I am Neil Tyson, and tonight I will be your guide on a journey not to the farthest reaches of the cosmos, but into the quiet, suspended gravity of the rainforest canopy. Welcome to Night Whisper Science. Tonight, we are going to adjust our internal clocks. We are so used to the frantic pace of humanity, the milliseconds of a computer processor, the rapid-fire rhythm of city traffic, the fleeting nature of our own busy thoughts. But the universe does not operate on this schedule. The galaxies drift apart over billions of years. The stars burn through their fuel with a patience that defies our comprehension. And right here on Earth, there is a creature that has mastered this cosmic stillness. A creature that understands, deep in its biology, that there is no need to rush. We are speaking, of course, about the sloth. Before we begin our descent into the emerald world of the rainforest, let us take a moment to find our own stillness. I want you to imagine the Earth spinning on its axis. It feels fast to us, giving us day and night every 24 hours, but in the grand scale of the solar system, it is a gentle, rhythmic waltz. Now slow that rotation down in your mind. Imagine the sun lingering on the horizon for hours, the shadows stretching out across the floor with agonizing slowness. Breathe in and breathe out, matching your rhythm to this slower world. We are leaving behind the urgency of the primate brain and adopting the deliberate, thoughtful pace of the sloth. As we enter the story of the sloth, we must first understand the theater in which they live. Picture the Amazon rainforest. It is not merely a collection of trees. It is a cathedral of life, a complex, breathing organism where sunlight is the currency and patience is the strategy. The air here is thick, holding the humidity like a warm embrace. It smells of wet earth, decomposing leaves, and the sweet, intoxicating scent of blooming orchids hidden high above the ground. In this place, time seems to pool like water in a hollow leaf. Let us begin with the first fact, a realization that connects us to the deep history of our planet. The sloth you picture today, small, furry, hugging a branch, is merely the current verse of a very long, very epic song. Fact number 1, the sloth has a lineage that echoes with the footsteps of giants. When we look at a modern three-toed sloth, we are looking at the diminishing quietus of a family tree that once shook the ground. Millions of years ago, during the epoch known as the Pleistocene, the ancestors of our gentle sleeper were the lords of the South American plains. These were the ground sloths, and the most famous among them, the megatherium, was a titan. Fact number 2 involves the sheer scale of this creature. Imagine a beast the size of a modern elephant, weighing up to 4 tons, capable of standing on its hind legs to reach 20 feet into the air. This was not a creature that hid in the canopy. It walked with a heavy, rolling gait, its massive claws, long as a human forearm, curved inward, forcing it to walk on the sides of its feet. When you drift off to sleep tonight, imagine the sound of that prehistoric world, the deep, resonant thrum of heavy footsteps on the pampas grass. The megatherium did not need to rush, for it had few natural enemies. Its size was its shield. It is a humbling thought, is it not, that the slow, hanging creature we know today carries the DNA of a giant that could look a Tyrannosaurus rex in the eye. Though they lived in different eras, the scale of their majesty is comparable. Fact number 3 brings us to the burrows of the behemoths. Paleontologists in South America have discovered massive tunnels, smooth-walled and wide enough for a car to drive through. For years, these were a mystery. Were they formed by water, by ancient volcanic vents? The answer, we now know, is far more fascinating. These are paleoburrows dug by giant sloths. Imagine the dedication required to dig a tunnel through solid rock and compressed earth using only your claws. It speaks to a persistence that defines the sloth lineage. They did not dig fast. They dug with a relentless, plodding consistency, moving one clawful of earth after another, hour after hour, year after year, creating subterranean sanctuaries that have outlasted their creators by 10,000 years. As we move through the timeline, we encounter fact number 4, the Great Transition. Why did these giants vanish? As the ice ages waned and the climate shifted, the open grasslands began to shrink, replaced by dense forests or hunted by the emerging dominance of humans and other predators. The large ground sloths could not hide. Their slowness, once a quirk of their size, became a liability on the open ground. But nature is an innovator. While the giants faded into the fossil record, their smaller cousins, the ones who had already begun to experiment with a life off the ground, survived. This brings us to fact number 5. The retreat to the canopy was an act of brilliant evolutionary strategy. By moving up, the sloth left behind the dangers of the jaguar and the saber-toothed cat. They traded the solid earth for a world of suspension. But this transition required a complete biological overhaul. To survive in the trees, one must be light or one must be strong. The sloth chose a different path. It chose to be efficient. Let your mind float upward now. Leave the prehistoric plains and descend 100 feet into the air. We are in the canopy now. The light here is filtered, dappled green and gold as it passes through layers of chlorophyll. Fact number 6. The sloth is not merely a tenant of the trees, it has become part of the architecture. Consider the anatomy of the modern sloth, our subject of stillness. Fact number 7 focuses on the hands that hold them aloft. A human hand is designed to grasp and release, to manipulate tools, to type, to throw. A sloth's hand is designed for one thing, to hang. Their claws are not like the nails of a dog or the retracting claws of a cat. They are long, bony hooks fused with the finger bones. When a sloth wraps its hand around a branch, it is not using muscular effort to hold on. This is fact number 8, the tendon locking mechanism. When you or I hang from a pull-up bar, our muscles burn. We are actively fighting gravity, expending energy to keep our fingers curled. But the sloth has a biological lock. When the claws curve over a branch, the tendons in the wrist pass through a specialized sheath that clamps down. The weight of the sloth's body actually tightens the grip. It costs them zero energy to hang. They are as comfortable hanging upside down as you are lying in a bed. In fact, fact number 9 tells us that this grip is so secure, sloths have been known to remain hanging from a branch even after they have passed away. They become one with the tree, held in a final, eternal embrace by their own anatomy. Let us drift deeper into this physical design. Fact number 10. The sloth is built upside down. Most mammals, dogs, horses, humans, have internal organs designed to sit in a specific way, suspended from the spine like laundry on the line, with gravity pulling them down towards the stomach. But the sloth spends 90% of its life inverted. If we hung upside down for an hour, our lungs would feel crushed by our liver and stomach. The sloth, however, has evolved specialized adhesions, fibrous anchors that tape their organs to their ribs and hips. This prevents their heavy stomach from compressing their lungs, allowing them to breathe easily while watching the world from an inverted perspective. Imagine the sensation of that, of the world turned on its head, the sky becoming a floor of blue, the ground a distant ceiling of brown. It is a shift in perspective that invites a loosening of the mind. There is no up or down in space, and for the sloth, the distinction is equally trivial. Now, look closely at the fur of the sloth. It is not silky like a cat's, nor oily like a beaver's. Fact number 11 reveals that sloth fur is a garden. If you were to look at a single hair of a sloth under a microscope, you would see that it is not smooth. It has cracks, craters, and deep grooves. In the wild, these grooves fill with water and debris, creating the perfect hydroponic system. Fact number 12. Sloths are green, not by pigment, but by partnership. A species of algae, which exists nowhere else on Earth but in the fur of a sloth, grows in these microscopic grooves. This is a symbiotic relationship forged over millions of years. The algae provides the sloth with camouflage, turning its coat into a patchy, moss-like texture that blends perfectly with the lichen-covered bark of the rainforest trees. To a harpy eagle soaring above, scanning for movement, the sloth is invisible. It is just another clump of leaves, another knot of wood. But the ecosystem of the sloth's fur goes deeper. Fact number 13 introduces us to the sloth moth. There is a specific species of moth that lives only in the fur of the sloth. It scurries through the coarse hairs like a tiny badger in a tall grass forest. These moths lay their eggs in the sloth's dung, and when they hatch, the new generation flies up to find a host sloth. It is a mobile planet, a furry globe populated by tiny citizens who live, breed, and die within the confines of this slow-moving beast. As we consider this miniature world, let us think about the pace at which it moves. Fact number 14. The top speed of a three-toed sloth on the ground is roughly 1 foot per minute. To put that in perspective, a snail is a competitive racer against a sloth on a bad day. But in the trees, they are more fluid. They do not rush, but they do not stumble. They move with a deliberate, Tai Chi-like grace. They reach out a limb and test the air, test the branch, verifying stability before committing their weight. This extreme slowness is not laziness. It is a survival strategy. Fact number 15. Predators in the rainforest are triggered by movement. The jaguar's eye is wired to detect the sudden dart of a deer or the flutter of a bird. By moving slower than the background refresh rate of a predator's attention, the sloth becomes effectively invisible. It is the stealth technology of nature. They hide in the blind spots of time itself. Let us settle into that idea for a moment, hiding in time. Imagine if you could move so slowly that the chaotic world around you simply ceased to notice you. The deadlines, the demands, the noise, they all rush past like a river flowing around a heavy stone. You are the stone. You are grounded. You are enduring. We have spoken of the giants of the past and the anatomy of the present. Now let us journey inward into the metabolic furnace of the sloth, though furnace is perhaps the wrong word. Fact number 16. The sloth has the slowest metabolism of any non-hibernating mammal. Most animals are burning bright, converting food into heat and energy at a rapid clip. The mouse eats constantly to stay alive. The hummingbird is mere hours away from starvation at any given moment. The sloth, however, is an ember. It burns low and slow. Fact number 17. A sloth's body temperature is incredibly variable. While humans fight to maintain a constant 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, shivering or sweating to adjust, the sloth allows its temperature to drift with the environment. At night, they cool down. In the morning, they climb to the top of the canopy to sunbathe, spreading their arms like a solar panel to warm their blood. They are essentially solar-powered mammals. By surrendering the need to internally regulate their heat, they save vast amounts of energy. They flow with the day, warming with the sun and cooling with the moon. And what fuels this slow-burning fire? Fact number 18. The diet of the sloth is a lesson in austerity. They eat leaves. Specifically, they favor the leaves of the cecropia tree. But here is the challenge. Leaves are terrible food. They are tough, fibrous, and full of toxins designed to discourage animals from eating them. They offer very little energy. To survive on such a poor diet, the sloth has evolved a digestive system that is a marvel of chemistry. Fact number 19. The sloth's stomach is huge. It can account for up to 1/3 of the animal's body weight. It is a multi-chambered fermentation tank, teeming with specialized bacteria that break down the tough cellulose of the leaves. But this process is not fast. Fact number 20. It can take a sloth up to 30 days to digest a single leaf. That meal you ate a month ago? Imagine still deriving energy from it today. This slow digestion means the sloth is perpetually full. They are never empty, never running on fumes. They carry a reservoir of energy that releases its power in a slow, steady trickle. It is a feeling of permanent satiety, of having enough. There is no hunger pang driving the sloth, no desperate search for the next calorie. There is only the patient processing of what has already been received. Let's visualize this dining experience. Fact number 21. The sloth does not graze greedily. It will reach out, pull a branch close with that unbreakable grip, and select a single leaf. It sniffs it, it tastes it, and then it chews. The chewing is a rhythmic side-to-side motion. There is no hurry to swallow. The sloth savors the bitterness, the texture, the green essence of the forest. In a world where we often eat while driving or while staring at screens, barely tasting our food, the sloth is the ultimate mindful eater. Now imagine the soundscape of the sloth's world as it dines. The rainforest is loud, screaming monkeys, buzzing cicadas, the call of the toucan. But the sloth is silent. Fact number 22. Sloths rarely vocalize. When they do, it is often a high-pitched, sorrowful whistle, usually a baby calling for its mother. But mostly they are masters of silence. They do not announce their presence. They exist in the quiet spaces between the noise. Fact number 23 concerns the sloth's neck. If you are a mammal, you almost certainly have 7 vertebrae in your neck. It is a rule of nature. The giraffe has 7, the mouse has 7. You have 7. But the sloth, specifically the three-toed sloth, breaks this rule. They have 9. This extra bone structure allows them to rotate their heads 270 degrees. They can look directly behind them without moving their bodies. Imagine the utility of this. You are hanging motionless. You do not want to move a limb and reveal your position, but you need to see the branch behind you or the predator approaching from the rear. So, you simply rotate your head, a slow, pivoting motion like an owl. This ability adds to their uncanny, almost mystical aura. They are the all-seeing watchers of the canopy, observing the 360-degree panorama of the forest without disturbing a single leaf. As the sun begins to climb higher in our imaginary rainforest, casting shafts of light through the mist, we notice something curious about the sloth's sleeping habits. Fact number 24 challenges a common myth. We often think of sloths as sleeping all day long. In captivity, sloths may sleep for 15 to 20 hours. But in the wild, recent studies using brainwave monitors have shown something different. Wild sloths sleep closer to 10 hours a day, not much more than a well-rested human. However, their wakefulness is different from ours. Fact number 25. Even when awake, a sloth spends hours in a state of active rest. They may have their eyes open, they may be slowly scratching a persistent itch, or simply gazing at the play of light on the bark. But they are not doing, they are being. This distinction is vital. In our culture, we equate doing nothing with laziness. For the sloth, doing nothing is the primary activity of survival. It is the conservation of the self. Let's drift back to the water for a moment. We are high in the trees, but beneath us flows the Amazon River, a ribbon of brown silk winding through the green. Fact number 26. Sloths are phenomenal swimmers. It seems contradictory, does it not? A creature that can barely crawl on land should surely sink in water. But sloths are naturally buoyant, thanks to those large, gas-filled stomachs we mentioned earlier. Fact number 27. They can swim 3 times faster than they can move on land. When a sloth drops from a hanging branch into the river, a common way to traverse gaps in the forest or find a new territory, it transforms. Its long arms, so awkward for walking, become efficient paddles. They do the breaststroke. They move with a fluid rhythm, cutting through the current with surprising grace. Picture a sloth swimming. Its head is held high above the water, its nose pointed up, eyes calm. It does not splash, it glides. This is a reminder that we all have environments where we struggle and environments where we flow. The sloth on the ground is a fish out of water. The sloth in the river is an explorer. Fact number 28. Sloths can hold their breath underwater for up to 40 minutes. 40 minutes! A dolphin needs to surface more often than that. By slowing their heart rate to 1/3 of its normal pace, the sloth can enter a metabolic trance, conserving oxygen in a way that rivals marine mammals. This ability allows them to forage for aquatic plants or simply hide beneath the surface if a predator is near. We are now deep into the narrative of the sloth, and perhaps you are feeling a heaviness in your own limbs, a sympathetic relaxation spreading through your muscles. This is good. We are syncing with the sloth. Let us explore the senses of the sloth. Fact number 29. Sloths are practically blind in bright daylight. Their eyes contain a high density of rod cells, which are great for low light, but they lack the cone cells needed for sharp color vision. In the blazing sun, the world is a washed-out blur to them. They rely heavily on their sense of smell and touch. Fact number 30. The sloth's sense of smell is acute. They navigate the world through a map of scents. They know which tree is which, not by the shape of the leaves, but by the chemical signature of the bark. They can smell the pheromones of another sloth from a great distance. Imagine navigating your house with your eyes closed, guided only by the scent of old wood, fresh linen, the faint perfume of a loved one. It is a more intimate way to know the world. Fact number 31 brings us to the social life, or lack thereof, of the sloth. Sloths are the ultimate introverts. They are solitary creatures. They do not form packs. They do not have herds. A sloth is an island unto itself. Fact number 32. They respect personal space. The territory of a sloth is roughly 10 to 15 acres. While territories may overlap, sloths generally avoid one another. There is a peace in this solitude. There is no social hierarchy to navigate, no alpha to submit to, no complex dynamics of the group. There is just the sloth and the forest. However, this solitude is broken for romance. Fact number 33. The mating call of the female sloth. When she is ready, she emits a scream that sounds eerily like a human woman shouting, "I, I." This sound carries through the canopy, a lonely beacon in the night. The males, hearing this, begin their slow pilgrimage. Fact number 34. The male sloth does not fight for the female in a violent clash of horns or claws. If two males arrive at the same female, they may hang from branches by their back legs and take vague swipes at each other. It is perhaps the gentlest fight in the animal kingdom. Eventually, one will tire or lose interest and slowly drift away. The victor claims the prize, not through fury, but through persistence. We are moving now towards the miracle of new life. Fact number 35. Sloth birth is a high wire act. The mother does not descend to the ground. She gives birth while hanging upside down. As the baby emerges, the mother must catch it, or the umbilical cord acts as a safety line, preventing the infant from falling to the forest floor. Fact number 36. The baby sloth is born with its eyes open and its claws fully formed. From the very first second of its life, it must hold on. It crawls onto its mother's chest, burying itself in her fur. For the next 6 to 9 months, this will be its entire world. The mother becomes the tree. She is the source of warmth, transportation, and food. Fact number 37. The transmission of knowledge. How does a baby sloth know which leaves to eat? The rainforest is full of poison. The mother teaches the baby not by lecturing, but by sharing. The baby licks the leaves around the mother's mouth, tasting the sap and the fragments of what she is eating. This flavor imprint teaches the infant's body what is safe. It is a chemical education passed from generation to generation. As we watch the mother and baby move through the canopy, let us consider the threats they face, for no story is complete without the shadow. Fact number 38. The harpy eagle. This bird is a terrifying predator, with talons the size of grizzly bear claws. It hunts by sight, scanning for the slightest movement. This is why the sloth's camouflage is so critical. The sloth survives by becoming moss, by becoming wood. Fact number 39. The jaguar. On the forest floor, the jaguar is king. Sloths are most vulnerable when they descend. And here is one of the greatest mysteries of sloth biology. Fact number 40. The bathroom dance. Once a week, the sloth makes a perilous journey. It climbs all the way down from the safety of the canopy to the base of the tree. It digs a small hole with its tail, defecates, covers it up, and climbs back up. Why? Why risk death by jaguar for a bathroom break? They could easily do this from the trees, as monkeys do. Scientists have puzzled over this for decades. The leading theory brings us back to the moths. Fact number 41. The sloth descends to help the moths. By depositing waste on the ground, the sloth provides a nursery for the moth eggs. When the moths hatch, they fly up to the sloth. The moths, in turn, die in the fur, breaking down into nitrogen that feeds the algae. The algae feeds the sloth, who absorbs some nutrients through the skin or by licking the fur. It is a complex circular economy. The sloth risks its life to maintain the garden on its back. It is a farmer, tending to its crop. Let us pause here in our recitation of facts and simply feel the environment again. The rain begins to fall. In the rainforest, rain is not a light sprinkle. It is a deluge. Fact number 42. Sloth fur is designed to shed water. The hairs point away from the belly, curving around the back. Because they hang upside down, the water runs off them like a thatched roof. They are waterproof. Listen to the sound of the rain hitting the thousands of leaves around you. A roar of white noise. Shh. The sloth does not seek shelter. It simply tucks its head between its knees, becoming a ball of wet fur, and waits. It has nowhere to be. The rain will stop eventually, or it won't. Either way, the sloth is content. Fact number 43. The sloth has an incredibly flexible spine, but very little muscle mass compared to other mammals. Muscles are expensive to maintain. They require calories. By having less muscle, the sloth lowers its energy bill. They are strong, yes, but it is the strength of leverage and tendons, not bulging biceps. Fact number 45. Sloths can heal from wounds that would kill other animals. Their slow metabolism seems to apply to infection as well. They are incredibly resilient. There are reports of sloths surviving falls from high trees, shaking it off, and slowly beginning the climb back up. They are built to endure. Fact number 46. The longevity of the sloth. In the wild, a sloth can live for 20 years or more. In captivity, they have reached 40. For a small animal, this is a long life. It seems that running your engine at low RPMs preserves the machinery. There is a lesson there for us. Stress, rushing, high blood pressure, these are the costs of speed. The sloth pays none of them. As we drift deeper into relaxation, let's look at the sloth's relatives again. Fact number 46. The anteater and the armadillo. These are the sloth's cousins in the superorder Xenarthra. They share the strange joints in their backbones. But while the anteater roams the ground and the armadillo armors itself, the sloth chose the path of suspension. Fact number 47. There are two main types of sloths, the two-toed and the three-toed. They look similar, but they are actually quite distant relatives, separated by millions of years of evolution. It is a case of convergent evolution, nature finding the same solution twice. The two-toed sloth is slightly more active, slightly more aggressive. The three-toed sloth is the Zen master, the one with the raccoon-like mask and the permanent beatific smile. That smile. Fact number 48. The facial structure of the three-toed sloth gives it the appearance of constant contentment. It is not an emotional expression, but a structural one. Yet humans find it irresistible. We project our desire for peace onto that face. We look at the sloth and we see a creature that has figured it out. It is not worried about the stock market. It is not worried about its appearance. It is just hanging. Fact number 49. Sloths have a short-term memory that is likely not very robust. They live in the eternal now. They are not ruminating on the mistakes of yesterday or anxieties about tomorrow. Their mental energy is focused on the immediate sensory experience. The grip of the claw, the taste of the leaf, the warmth of the sun. Fact number 50. The sloth's heart. A sloth's heart makes up only 0.3% of its body weight. A lion's heart is much larger proportionally. The sloth's heart beats slowly, efficiently. Under stress, it does not race. It remains steady. Imagine if you could command your heart to remain that calm. We are halfway through our 100 facts, but the numbers matter less than the feeling. The feeling of heaviness. The feeling of gravity pulling you down into your mattress, just as it pulls the sloth into the curve of the branch. You are supported. You are held. Fact number 51. The rainforest canopy is a world of layers. The sloth prefers the mid-canopy. The top is too hot and exposed to eagles. The bottom is too dark and close to jaguars. The middle is just right. It is the Goldilocks zone. Finding your balance, finding your middle path, this is the way of the sloth. Fact number 52. Sloths are crucial to the rainforest. They are gardeners. By eating leaves and defecating at the base of trees, they cycle nutrients. A single tree may be home to several sloths, and over a lifetime, those sloths return hundreds of pounds of fertilizer to the roots of their host. They pay rent. Fact number 53. The sloth's tongue. It is long, sticky, and textured, perfect for stripping leaves. But they do not drink much water. They get almost all their hydration from the leaves they eat and the dew they lick off their fur. They are self-contained systems. Fact number 54. The evolution of the sloth is a story of loss. They lost their incisor teeth. They lost the ability to thermoregulate. They lost the ability to run. But in evolution, loss is often gain. By losing these things, they gained a niche that no one else wanted. They gained a life of low conflict. Sometimes giving up things, ambitions, possessions, the need to be first, can be a victory. Fact number 55. The gripping power of a baby sloth. If you were to try to pull a baby sloth off its mother, you would find it nearly impossible. Their grip is their lifeline. It is an instinct that overrides everything else. Hold on to what matters. Let go of the rest. As we move into the latter half of our journey, the forest night has fully descended. The green light has turned to a deep, velvety indigo. The sounds of the day, the birds, the distant chatter, have faded, replaced by the rhythmic chirping of crickets and the soft croaking of tree frogs. The sloth is awake now, in its own sleepy way, navigating the dark. Fact number 56. The sloth's whiskers. Like a cat, they have tactile hairs on their snout that help them feel their way through the tangle of branches in the dark. A gentle touch here, a brush there. Fact number 57. The sloth's head is shaped to allow it to push through dense foliage. It is streamlined. Fact number 58. The tail. The three-toed sloth has a small, stubby tail. It is almost vestigial, but it serves a purpose as a sensory pad when they are sitting against a trunk. Fact number 60. The vertebrae of the sloth. The vertebrae of the sloth are fused in places to provide stability while hanging. They are less like a spring and more like a rigid hook. Fact number 60. The mystery of sleep. Sloths can sleep with their eyes open. If you see a sloth staring at you, it might actually be deep in a dream. Dreaming of what? Perhaps of the giant ancestors roaming the plains? Perhaps of a leaf that tastes like sunshine. Let the image of the sloth fade for a moment and bring your attention back to your own body. Are your hands clenched? Release them. Let your fingers curl naturally, like the resting claws of a sloth. Is your jaw tight? Let it slacken. Is your breathing shallow? Deepen it. Slow it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. Fact number 61. The sloth's range. They are found throughout Central and South America, from the cloud forests of Costa Rica to the flooded forests of Brazil. They are resilient to different types of heat and humidity, provided there are trees. Fact number 62. The pygmy sloth. On a tiny island off the coast of Panama called Escudo de Veraguas, there lives a species of sloth that exists nowhere else. They are smaller, roughly the size of a cat, and they live in the mangroves. They are the critically endangered jewels of the sloth family. They swim in the ocean to get from mangrove patch to mangrove patch. A swimmin', seafaring sloth. Fact number 63. Sloths have a symbiotic relationship with birds too. Sometimes small birds will pluck insects from the sloth's fur. The sloth does not mind. It is a mobile ecosystem, a host to many. Fact number 64. The silence of movement. Even when climbing, sloths do not rustle the leaves. They move with such fluidity that the branches barely sway. They are ghosts in the machine of the forest. Fact number 65. The sloth's primary defense is not fight or flight, it is endurance. If attacked, they can withstand severe punishment. Their skin is thick, their fur is dense, and their grip is unbreakable. They simply outlast the aggressor. Fact number 66. The wisdom of the pause. When a sloth reaches a gap in the canopy, it does not leap, it reaches. If it cannot reach, it waits. It may wait for the wind to blow a branch closer. It uses the environment to its advantage. It works with the world, not against it. Fact number 67. The chemical warfare of the cecropia tree. The sloth is one of the few animals that can bypass the chemical defenses of these trees. It has unlocked a food source that is abundant because no one else wants it. Fact number 68. The sloth's claws leave no mark. Unlike a bear that tears at the bark, the sloth's grip is static. It does not damage the tree that holds it. It is a gentle tenant. Fact number 69. The joy of the sun. We mentioned thermoregulation, but watch a sloth in the morning sun. It tilts its head back, it closes its eyes, it looks for all the world like a creature in a state of bliss. It enjoys the warmth. Do you take time to simply feel the sun on your face? To feel the warmth of your blankets? Fact number 70. The circle of life. Sloths are prey to eagles and jaguars, but they are also decomposers. When a sloth eventually dies, its body returns to the forest floor, feeding the very trees that supported it. It is a perfect loop. We are approaching the final segment of our facts, but the distinction between fact and feeling is blurring. The sloth is not just an animal anymore. It is a state of mind. It is a permission slip to slow down. Fact number 71. The swimming stroke of the sloth is distinct. It is not a doggy paddle. It is a coherent overhead stroke. Fact number 72. Sloths can close their nostrils underwater. They seal themselves off. Fact number 73. The descent. When a sloth falls, which is rare, the relaxed muscles and sturdy frame often allow it to survive the impact. They bounce in a sense. Tension causes injury, relaxation prevents it. Fact number 74. The sloth's metabolism is so slow that if they get too cold, the bacteria in their stomach can die. If the bacteria die, the sloth can starve even with a full stomach because it cannot digest the food. They need warmth. We all need warmth. Fact number 75. The bond between sloths is subtle. They may graze on the same tree, acknowledging each other with a slow blink. Fact number 76. The rescue. There are sanctuaries now, dedicated to healing sloths injured by power lines or roads. Humans are learning to slow down for them. We are building sloth crossings, bridges of rope over highways. Fact number 77. The sloth's fur is actually two coats. A soft, downy undercoat for warmth and the coarse, long outer coat for protection. You are wrapped in layers of comfort. Fact number 78. The vibration. Sloths do not purr, but the air moving through their large nostrils creates a soft huffing sound. Fact number 80. The horizon. From the top of the canopy, the sloth sees the sun rise and set. It witnesses the passage of time without needing to measure it. Fact number 81. Sloths do not suffer from arthritis. Despite hanging for a lifetime, their joints remain healthy. Fact number 82. They have a high tolerance for pain, or perhaps a different relationship with it. Fact number 83. The algae on their fur is being studied for medical properties. It may contain compounds that cure diseases. The cure is in the slough. Fact number 84. The sloth's eyes are always moist, giving them a soulful look. Fact number 85. The reach. A sloth's arms are longer than its legs. It reaches for the future, but holds on to the present. Fact number 86. The baby sloth learns the map of the mother's body before it learns the map of the forest. Fact number 87. When a mother sloth calls to her lost baby, the sound is heartbreakingly human. It is a reminder that connection is universal. Fact number 88. Sloths play. Young sloths will paw at each other, a slow-motion wrestling match. Fact number 89. They groom each other, using their claws as combs. Fact number 90. The scent of a sloth is like the forest floor, musky, earthy, green. Fact number 91. The sloth reminds us that we are human beings, not human doings. Fact number 92. In the indigenous folklore of some Amazonian tribes, the sloth is the old man of the forest, the keeper of wisdom. Fact number 93. To rush is to make mistakes. The sloth makes very few mistakes. Fact number 94. Gravity is their friend. They use it to travel, swinging like a pendulum. Fact number 95. The sloth is a master of energy conservation. Every calorie is accounted for. Fact number 96. They are the most common large mammal in the rainforest, yet the least seen. Success does not require visibility. Fact number 97. The sloth's smile is fixed, but its peace is real. Fact number 98. You can learn to be a sloth. You can choose to move slower, to eat slower, to breathe slower. Fact number 99. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. Your hurry is insignificant. Fact number 100. The sloth is still there. Right now, as you lie in bed, thousands of miles away, a sloth is hanging in a tree, breathing slowly, perfectly content in the darkness. It is not worrying. It is resting. And you can rest with it. The forest is quiet now. The cosmic clock ticks slowly. The stars wheel overhead. The sloth holds the branch. The branch holds the sloth. The earth holds the tree. And gravity holds you. Sleep now, my friend. Drift into the canopy of dreams. Be slow. Be still. Be at peace. Good night. Hello, friend. I am Neil Tyson, and tonight I will be your guide. Welcome to Night Whisper Science. We are about to embark on a journey, not across the unfathomable distances of space, but deep into the equally vast expanse of time. A journey measured not in light years, but in the slow, deliberate breaths of a creature that has mastered the art of stillness. We are setting our cosmic clocks to the rhythm of the rainforest, leaving behind the frantic pace of our modern world to understand the profound wisdom of the slow-moving sloth. Before we begin, I invite you to settle in. Let the weight of your body feel fully supported by the surface beneath you. Feel the gentle pull of gravity, that fundamental force that shapes galaxies and holds you safely in your bed. Now, let's consider our perception of time. We live our lives by the second, the minute, the hour. Our hearts beat a rapid, anxious rhythm. Our minds race from one thought to the next. But this is just one frequency in the grand orchestra of the universe. Imagine a star, a massive, burning sphere of gas. From our perspective, it is a constant, unwavering point of light. But from a cosmic perspective, it is a dynamic, living entity, burning through its fuel over billions of years in a slow, magnificent exhale. The planets themselves spin in a patient, silent waltz. Continents drift across the face of the Earth at a pace so slow it is imperceptible to us, yet it reshapes the world. This is the timescale we will be entering tonight.
a timescale where patience is not a virtue, but a fundamental law of physics and biology. Breathe in, slowly, and as you breathe out, imagine you are releasing the urgency of your day. Let your internal metronome slow down. Let each tick and talk grow farther and farther apart until there is a profound quiet in the space between each beat of your heart. With each breath, we are traveling. We are moving away from the noise and the light of human cities, and we are descending into a cathedron of life, a place where the air itself is thick with time. We are entering the rainforest. Can you feel the change? The air grows heavy, humid, clinging to your skin like a warm, damp blanket. It carries the scent of wet earth, of decaying leaves returning their nutrients to the soil, of sweet, nocturnal flowers opening their petals to the moon.
Above you, a canopy of green so dense it creates its own twilight, even at midday. Sunlight struggles to find its way down, arriving on the forest floor in dappled, shifting patches, like messages from a distant world. The sounds here are different. There is a constant, low hum, the collective vibration of millions of insects, the croak of a tree frog, the distant, mysterious call of a night bird, and beneath it all, a deep, resonant silence. It is in this silence, this green, breathing stillness, that our story lives. High above the forest floor, suspended between the earth and the sky, is a creature that embodies this world completely. A creature that has become the living expression of slowness. Tonight, we attune ourselves to the life and legacy of the sloth. We begin our journey not in the present, but in the deep past. Let your mind drift back, past the centuries, past the millennia, back into an age of ice and giants. This is Chapter 1, Echoes of Giants. Our first fact is a bridge to this lost world. The small, gentle creature you picture hanging from a branch today is but the quiet, final whisper of a truly epic family line. To understand the modern sloth, we must first walk with its colossal ancestors. Imagine a landscape not of dense jungle, but of sprawling grasslands and open woodlands stretching across the continent of South America during the Pleistocene epoch. The air is cooler. Strange, unfamiliar beasts roam this world, and among them, one of the largest is a sloth. Fact number 2, this was Megatherium, the giant ground sloth. The name means great beast, and it was an understatement. Picture it now, a creature the size of a modern elephant, weighing up to 4 tons and standing over 20 feet tall on its hind legs. Its body is covered not in the fine fur of its modern relatives, but in a thick, shaggy coat, perhaps with bony plates, called osteoderms, embedded in its skin, forming a kind of natural chainmail. It moves with a slow, ponderous gait, its immense weight supported by powerful hind legs and a thick, muscular tail that acts as a third leg, a tripod for stability. Its feet are enormous, and because of its long, inwardly curving claws, it walks on the sides of its feet, a strange rolling motion that would have made the very ground tremble. This was not a creature that hid. Its sheer size was its defense. Its slowness was not a vulnerability, but a statement of confidence. It had few, if any, natural predators. It was a moving mountain of life, a testament to a time when slowness and scale were pathways to dominance. What did this giant eat? For a long time, we pictured it as a gentle herbivore, using its height to browse on the high branches of trees, pulling them down with its powerful arms. But new evidence suggests a more complex story. Fact number 3, some scientists now believe Megatherium may have been an opportunistic omnivore. Its claws, while not sharp enough for slashing, were powerful enough to overturn the shelters of smaller animals. Its jaw structure and teeth suggest it could have consumed meat in addition to plants. Imagine this giant, a slow-moving scavenger, a creature that could take what it wanted simply by virtue of its immense power. It is a sobering thought that the lineage of our peaceful leaf-eating friend may have roots in such a formidable giant.
These creatures did more than just walk the land, they sculpted it. Fact number 4 leads us into the Earth itself. Across Brazil and Argentina, explorers have found massive, winding tunnels, some stretching for hundreds of feet, with ceilings 10 feet high. For decades, their origin was a mystery. They are called paleoburrows. We now know that these were dug by giant ground sloths, perhaps Megatherium, perhaps another species called Glossotherium. Imagine the process, not a frantic digging, but a slow, methodical excavation. Clawful by clawful, year after year, these animals carved shelters out of the compressed earth and rock. You can still see the claw marks on the walls, enormous, parallel grooves left by claws the size of daggers. What were these burrows for? Perhaps to escape the heat of the day, to protect their young, or to hibernate through colder periods. Whatever the reason, they are monuments to a persistence that defines the sloth family. A willingness to undertake monumental tasks at an unhurried pace. These tunnels are sloth cathedrals, silent for 10,000 years. But this world of giants was not destined to last. As we move forward in geological time, we witness a profound transformation of the planet. Fact number 5. The end of the last ice age, around 12,000 years ago, brought radical climate change. The glaciers retreated, temperatures rose, and the landscapes of South America began to shift. The open woodlands and savannas that the giant ground sloths called home began to shrink, replaced by the dense tropical rainforests we know today.
This changing world presented a challenge to the great beasts. Their size, once their greatest asset, became a liability. They could not navigate the dense thicket of the new forests. Their slowness, once a sign of dominance, made them easy targets for a new and highly intelligent predator that was spreading across the continent: early humans. Fact number 6. Fossil evidence shows us that giant sloth bones are often found alongside the spear points and tools of our own ancestors. We hunted them. We, the fast-moving, fast-thinking primates, may have been the final pressure that pushed these magnificent giants into extinction. And so, the age of the titans came to a close. Megatherium, Eremotherium, Mylodon, their names are now just echoes in the fossil record. But evolution is not an ending, it is a continuous adaptation. As the giants fell, their smaller, more versatile cousins found a new path to survival. Fact number 7. The future of the sloth was not on the ground, but up in the trees. The retreat to the canopy was not an act of cowardice, it was an act of evolutionary genius. By ascending into the branches, the sloth's ancestors entered a new dimension. They left behind the terrestrial predators and the competition on the forest floor. They found an abundant, if not particularly nutritious, food source that was largely uncontested: leaves. But this move required a complete reinvention of their biology. It was a transition that would take millions of years of slow, patient refinement. Fact number 8. The sloth's body began to change. Over generations, their size decreased, a crucial adaptation for a life spent on slender branches. Their long, shaggy coats, once needed for warmth on the open plains, became home to a new ecosystem of algae and moths, providing camouflage. Their limbs, once built for powerful walking, became specialized for pulling and hanging. Their center of gravity shifted. They were redesigning themselves for a world of suspension. Imagine being one of these transitional creatures, still spending time on the ground, but finding more and more of your life happening in the lower branches. Learning to move not by pushing, but by pulling. Learning that your long claws, once used for digging or defense, were perfectly shaped to hook over a branch. Fact number 9. The sloth's anatomy co-evolved with the trees. The shape of their claws matched the diameter of the branches. The length of their arms matched the distance between limbs. They became living keys, perfectly cut to fit the locks of the rainforest architecture. This transition highlights a profound truth. Survival is not always about being the strongest or the fastest. Sometimes it is about being the one who is best adapted to a specific niche.
The sloth did not try to compete with the jaguar in speed or the monkey in agility. Instead, it chose a different game entirely. It chose the game of slowness, of energy conservation, of becoming so perfectly a part of the environment that it became almost invisible. Fact number 10. There were many branches on the sloth family tree. It was not a single linear path from ground to tree. Dozens of species experimented with different ways of life. Some were the size of sheep, others the size of dogs. Some may have even been semi-aquatic, like the strange Thalassocnus, the marine sloth, which lived off the coast of Peru and is believed to die for seaweed. The story of sloth evolution is a rich and diverse tapestry. The 2- and 3-toed sloths we know today are simply the last surviving threads. Fact number 11. This great family of animals, the Xenarthra, which includes sloths, armadillos, and anteaters, is unique to the Americas. They are one of the 4 major branches of placental mammals, and their story is one of splendid isolation. For millions of years, South America was an island continent, allowing these strange and wonderful creatures to evolve in ways seen nowhere else on Earth. Fact number 12. The giant ground sloths were incredibly successful. They spread out from South America, migrating north all the way into Alaska and Canada. For a creature we associate with slowness, they were remarkable explorers, colonizing an entire hemisphere. Their fossils have been found in caves in the Grand Canyon and in the La Brea tar pits of Los Angeles. They were a dominant feature of the American landscape for millions of years, far longer than we have been. Let that sink in, the weight of that history. The ground beneath our feet was once shaken by the footsteps of these giants. As you lie there, feeling the solidness of the bed beneath you, imagine the deep time buried in the earth, a time when the world moved at a different pace. Fact number 13. The last of the giant ground sloths vanished from the mainland of the Americas about 10,000 years ago.
But on the islands of the Caribbean, like Cuba and Hispaniola, some smaller ground sloth species managed to survive for another 5,000 years. They lived in a world without humans until the first people arrived by boat, and then they too disappeared. Their story is a quiet but powerful reminder of the impact our species has on the planet. Fact number 14. The legacy of the giants lives on in the DNA of their small arboreal descendants. The modern sloth is not a lesser creature, it is a hyper-specialized survivor. It carries the genetic memory of a world of ice and mammoths, but it has perfected a way of life that is tuned to the quiet, green world of today. Fact number 15. Our final fact in this chapter of deep history is a reflection on perspective. We look at the sloth and see slowness as a curiosity, perhaps a weakness. But from an evolutionary perspective, the sloth's strategy has been a staggering success. While saber-toothed cats and woolly mammoths have vanished, the sloth has endured. It has survived massive shifts in climate, the rise and fall of countless other species, and the arrival of humanity. It survives not by fighting the current, but by moving so slowly that the current barely notices it is there. It is a master of living in the quiet margins, a strategy that has carried its lineage across 65 million years of Earth's turbulent history. Let the echoes of these giants fade now, like the rumble of distant thunder. We leave the Pleistocene plains behind. Our focus now ascends, climbing up the trunk of a mighty cecropia tree, rising into the humid air of the present-day Canopy. We have arrived at the home of the modern sloth to explore a body and a biology that is a masterpiece of stillness. This is Chapter 2, An Anatomy of Stillness. As we adjust our focus, the first thing we notice is how the sloth is attached to its world. Its connection to the tree is absolute, and it begins with its most famous feature. Fact number 16. The sloth's claws. They are not like fingernails. They are not like the retractable claws of a cat. They are elongated, bony extensions of the finger bones themselves, wrapped in a thick sheath of keratin. They can grow up to 4 inches long, and they are permanently curved into the shape of a hook. Imagine the feeling of such a hand not designed for manipulating, for typing, for holding a tool, but for one single, perfect purpose: to hang. The sloth does not grip a branch in the way we do. We must apply constant muscular effort to hold our own weight. Our muscles burn, they fatigue, they eventually fail. For the sloth, hanging is the default state. It is the state of rest. Fact number 17 explains this marvel of biological engineering. It is called the tendon locking mechanism. The tendons that connect the sloth's muscles to its claws pass through fibrous sheaths at the wrist and ankle. When the claws hook over a branch, the weight of the sloth's body pulls on these tendons, causing the sheaths to clamp down, locking the claws in place. It is a completely passive system. It requires zero muscular energy to maintain. The heavier the sloth, the tighter the grip becomes. Let yourself feel that sensation, a feeling of absolute security, of being held so firmly, so effortlessly that there is no possibility of falling. This is the physical reality of the sloth every moment of his life. This grip is so powerful, so ingrained in their anatomy, that it persists even beyond life itself. Fact number 18. Sloths have been found still hanging from their branch long after they have passed away. Their bodies become a part of the tree, held in a final, peaceful embrace by a system that was designed never to let go. This profound connection to the canopy has shaped every aspect of the sloth's internal design. Fact number 19. The sloth is a creature built upside down. Nearly every other mammal on Earth is designed to operate with gravity pulling its organs down toward its belly. Our organs are suspended from our spine. If we were to hang upside down for an extended period, the weight of our liver, stomach, and intestines would press down on our diaphragm and lungs, making it incredibly difficult to breathe. The sloth, which spends up to 90% of its life inverted, would face the same problem. To solve this, evolution has come up with an elegant solution. Fact number 20. The sloth's internal organs are anchored in place. They have unique fibrous adhesions, like internal strips of tape, that connect their liver and stomach to their lower ribs. This internal scaffolding holds the organs away from the diaphragm, leaving the lungs free to expand and contract without any pressure from above. This allows a sloth to breathe just as easily hanging upside down as we do standing up. It is a complete re-engineering of the mammalian body plan, all in service of a life spent in suspension.
Now, let us look closer at the sloth's fur. It appears coarse, and it is. The hairs are thick and rough, but they are also extraordinary. Fact number 21. If you were to examine a single sloth hair under a microscope, you would see that it is not a smooth cylinder. It is covered in deep, microscopic cracks and fissures. These grooves are not a flaw, they are a feature. In the constantly damp environment of the rainforest, these cracks collect rainwater. This brings us to one of the most famous facts about the sloth. Fact number 22. Sloths are green. This color does not come from pigment in their fur. It comes from life itself. A specialized species of trichophilous algae grows in those water-filled cracks in the hair. This algae is found nowhere else on Earth. It is a symbiotic partner that has evolved alongside the sloth for millions of years. The sloth provides the algae with a safe, mobile habitat and a steady supply of water. In return, the algae provides the sloth with one of its most important survival tools: camouflage. The greenish, patchy color of the algae makes the sloth's coat look like a patch of moss or a cluster of lichen on a branch. To the sharp eyes of a predator like the harpy eagle soaring high above, the sloth simply dissolves into the texture of the canopy. It is a living, breathing part of the forest's foliage. It hides in plain sight by becoming the landscape. But this ecosystem is more complex than just a sloth and its algae. Fact number 23 introduces us to another resident, the sloth moth. Several species of tiny moths live their entire adult lives in the dense, shaggy fur of a single sloth. They are a world unto themselves, scurrying through the hairs like creatures in a miniature jungle. They feed on the algae and the secretions from the sloth's skin. The fur provides them with shelter, with food, and with transportation through the forest. When it is time for the sloth to make its rare, weekly descent to the forest floor, the female moths crawl out and lay their eggs in the sloth's dung. The dung provides a rich nursery for the larvae. When the new generation of moths hatches and mature, they fly up from the ground, seeking the scent of a sloth, and find a new furry home to continue the cycle. This is a beautiful, intricate dance of symbiosis. Fact number 24. The sloth, the algae, and the moth are a three-part harmony. The moths, when they die in the fur, are decomposed by fungi, releasing nitrogen and other nutrients that act as fertilizer, promoting even better growth for the algae. The sloth isn't just carrying these organisms, it is actively farming them. It is a self-sustaining, mobile ecosystem, a tiny, slow-moving planet teeming with its own unique life. Let's feel the texture of that fur in our minds. Not soft and silky, but thick, coarse, and damp. It would smell of the earth, of algae, of the soft scent of rain. It is a living cloak, a piece of the forest that the sloth carries with it wherever it goes. This unique anatomy extends all the way to the sloth's skeleton. Fact number 25 is one of the great exceptions to the rules of mammalian anatomy. If you are a mammal, you almost certainly have 7 vertebrae in your neck. The tiny mouse has 7. The towering giraffe, with its impossibly long neck, also has 7. They are just incredibly large. Humans have 7. It is one of the most consistent rules in the animal kingdom. But the sloth breaks this rule. The 3-toed sloth has evolved up to 9 neck vertebrae. The 2-toed sloth, on the other hand, has only 5 or 6. These changes to the fundamental body plan give the sloth an extraordinary range of motion in its neck. Fact number 26. A 3-toed sloth can rotate its head a full 270 degrees. It can look directly over its own back without moving its body an inch. Imagine the advantage this provides. You are hanging motionless, perfectly camouflaged. You suspect a predator might be approaching from behind. Instead of having to make a large, revealing movement of your entire body, you can simply, slowly turn your head, like the turret of a submarine scanning the world in a near-perfect circle. It is another adaptation that allows the sloth to conserve energy and remain hidden, a silent, all-seeing observer suspended in the green twilight. The world turns, and the sloth watches. This stillness, this quiet observation, is the essence of the sloth. Its anatomy is not built for action, but for being. Its claws are not for doing, but for holding. Its fur is not for show, but for blending. Its neck is not for chasing, but for watching. It is a creature designed by 65 million years of evolution to do one thing better than any other animal on Earth: nothing at all. And in that nothing, there is a profound and deep wisdom. A wisdom that we can feel now, as our own bodies grow heavy, still, and secure.
A wisdom that whispers, there is no need to rush. There is only a need to be and to breathe, in and out. The slow, patient rhythm of the forest and of sleep. We have explored the external architecture of the sloth, a body designed for a life of quiet suspension. We've seen how its claws lock it to the world, how its fur becomes a living garden, how its very skeleton defies the common rules of biology. But to truly understand the sloth, we must now journey inward. We must travel past the skin and bone and enter the slow, internal cosmos of its metabolism. This is Chapter 3, The Art of Energy. In the universe of life, energy is the ultimate currency. Most animals live in a state of high expenditure. The hummingbird's wings beat in a blur, its heart a frantic drum, constantly on the verge of an energy deficit. The cheetah burns through its reserves in a single explosive sprint. These are creatures of fire, burning bright and fast. The sloth, however, is a creature of the ember. It has mastered the art of burning low and slow,
of stretching a single unit of energy across an astonishing expanse of time. Fact number 27 is the key that unlocks this entire philosophy. The sloth has the slowest metabolic rate of any non-hibernating mammal on the planet. Its internal furnace is set to the lowest possible setting. It is a biological strategy of extreme conservation, and it dictates every single aspect of the sloth's life. To maintain this slow burn, the sloth has abandoned one of the most energy-intensive activities of being a mammal. Fact number 28. Sloths are not fully warm-blooded. Unlike us, with our bodies fighting constantly to maintain a stable 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, the sloth allows its internal temperature to fluctuate with the world around it. At night, in the cool rainforest air, its body temperature can drop dramatically, sometimes as low as the 70s. In this state, it is almost like a reptile, its metabolic processes slowing to a crawl. It enters a state of nightly torpor. Then, as the morning sun begins to filter through the canopy, the sloth engages in a slow, deliberate ritual. Fact number 29. The sloth is solar-powered. It will climb, with its characteristic lack of hurry, to the highest branches, positioning its body to catch the rays of the sun. It spreads its limbs, turning its belly and chest toward the warmth, like a flower turning to the light. It is sunbathing, not for leisure, but for survival. It must absorb the external heat of the sun to warm its blood and kick-start its digestive system for the day. It is a living solar panel, recharging its batteries from a star 93 million miles away. By outsourcing the job of heating to the sun, it saves a tremendous amount of energy it would otherwise have to generate from food. And what is this food that fuels such a minimalistic existence? Fact number 30. The diet of the sloth is a lesson in making the most of very little. Sloths are folivores, which means they eat leaves. But they are specialists. Many three-toed sloths, for instance, feed primarily on the leaves of the cecropia tree, a fast-growing pioneer of the rainforest. Now, from our perspective, a diet of leaves might sound simple, but from a biological standpoint, it is a terrible business plan. Fact number 31. Leaves are an incredibly poor source of nutrition. They are fibrous, tough to break down, low in calories, and often filled with toxic compounds, the tree's own chemical defenses designed to discourage animals from eating them. It is like trying to run a marathon by eating nothing but cardboard. So how does the sloth survive, let alone thrive, on such a challenging diet? It does so with a digestive system that is a true marvel of biological engineering. Fact number 32. The sloth has a massive, complex, multi-chambered stomach. Much like a cow, it is a fermentation vat. But it is far, far slower. This stomach can account for up to 30% of the sloth's entire body weight. When you look at a sloth, much of what you see is not fat or muscle, but a huge, slow-working bag of digesting leaves. Inside this stomach is a teeming universe of specialized bacteria and microbes. Fact number 33. This internal microbiome does the hard work of digestion for the sloth. These bacteria have evolved the ability to break down the tough cellulose of the leaves and, crucially, to neutralize the toxins. The sloth is essentially a farmer, cultivating a garden of gut bacteria that turn poison into protein. The sheer slowness of this process is difficult to comprehend. Fact number 34. It can take a sloth up to 30 days to digest a single meal. A leaf plucked from a branch today may not fully yield its energy until this time next month. Imagine that! The energy you are using right now coming from a meal you ate weeks ago. This creates a state of being that is alien to us. The sloth is never truly empty.
It carries its energy reserves within it, a slow-release capsule that provides a steady, gentle trickle of fuel. There is no frantic hunger, no desperate search for the next calorie.
There is only the patient internal processing of what has already been received. Let your mind settle into that feeling, the feeling of being perpetually full, of having enough. It is a feeling of deep internal security, a quiet warmth spreading from your core. This digestive strategy is the very reason for the sloth's slowness. Fact number 35. The sloth must move slowly because it is operating on an incredibly tight energy budget. It receives so few calories from its food that it must be exceptionally careful about how it spends them. Every movement is calculated. Every reach is deliberate. There are no wasted gestures. Speed is a luxury the sloth's diet cannot afford. Its slowness is not laziness. It is the height of efficiency. It is the perfect balance of energy in and energy out. Let's watch a sloth eat. It is a meditation. It will reach out, hook a branch with its claws, and draw it slowly toward its face. It does not tear at the leaves. It selects one. It may sniff it first, using its excellent sense of smell to assess its chemical makeup. Then, with its simple, peg-like teeth, it begins to chew. The chewing is a slow, rhythmic, side-to-side grinding. There is no rush to swallow. It is the ultimate act of mindful eating, of extracting every possibility from what the world has offered. And what about water? Fact number 36. Sloths rarely drink water directly from a source like a stream or a puddle. They get almost all the hydration they need from the succulent leaves they eat and from licking the dew and raindrops from their own fur in the morning. They are a self-contained, self-hydrating system, another strategy that saves them the energy and risk of a trip to the ground. This entire system, the low metabolism, the variable body temperature, the specialized diet, the month-long digestion, is a single, interconnected masterpiece of energy conservation. The sloth has traded power and speed for endurance and invisibility. It has solved the puzzle of survival by simply slowing the puzzle down until all the pieces fit perfectly. As you lie here, feel your own internal processes slowing down. Feel the gentle, rhythmic work of your own body, the slow beat of your heart, the soft rise and fall of your chest. You are an energy system, and for tonight, you have permission to set your own internal furnace to low, to conserve, to rest, to recharge. We have seen the sloth as a masterpiece of internal engineering. Now, let us pull our focus back to the outside world to observe how this creature of stillness behaves in its green, silent kingdom. How does it navigate a world of constant danger when its primary trait is a lack of speed? It does so by becoming a ghost. This is Chapter 4, Hidden in Plain Sight. One of the most persistent myths about the sloth is that it sleeps for 20 hours a day. While this might be true for sloths in the comfort and safety of a zoo, the reality in the wild is quite different. Fact number 37. Recent studies using tiny EEG recorders to monitor the brainwaves of wild sloths have revealed that they sleep for about 10 hours a day. That is not much more than a well-rested human. The difference lies in the quality of their wakefulness. Fact number 38. When a sloth is awake, it is often in a state of active rest. Its eyes may be open, it may be slowly scanning its surroundings, it may spend 20 minutes making a single deliberate scratch. From our perspective, it appears to be doing nothing. But from the sloth's perspective, it is doing the most important thing of all. It is being still. It is conserving energy and remaining invisible. This invisibility is its primary shield. Fact number 39. The main predators of the sloth are animals that hunt by sight, like the harpy eagle and ocelots. These predators have eyes that are exquisitely tuned to detect movement. A flicker of a tail, the dart of a small mammal, the flutter of a bird's wings. This is what triggers the instinct to attack. The sloth survives by moving so slowly, so infrequently, that it does not register in the predator's visual field. It operates below the refresh rate of their attention. Imagine looking at a complex forest. It is a riot of green and brown, a chaos of leaves and branches. Now imagine one tiny part of that photograph is moving, but at the pace of a clock's hour hand. Would you ever notice it? Probably not.
This is the genius of the sloth's camouflage. It is not just about color, it is about motion. It hides in time itself. Let yourself feel that now. The sensation of being invisible, of being so still and so quiet that the noisy, busy world simply passes you by, unaware of your presence. You are tucked away.
You are safe in the interplay of light and shadow. There is a deep peace in this hiddenness. But what happens when camouflage is not enough? What if a predator does spot the sloth? Fact number 40. The sloth is not defenseless. If a jaguar or an ocelot manages to climb up to a sloth, the slow-moving creature will transform. It will use its long, powerful arms and those formidable 4-inch claws to slash out with surprising speed and strength. A sloth's grip is strong enough to break a human's arm, and its claws can inflict deep wounds. Its skin is also unusually thick and tough, and its fur is so dense that it can be difficult for teeth to find purchase. The sloth's second line of defense is to make itself a very difficult and painful meal. This combination of perfect camouflage and a surprisingly potent defense means that adult sloths have a very high survival rate. They have perfected the art of avoiding conflict. Now, let's consider the social life of a sloth, or more accurately, the lack of one. Fact number 41. Sloths are profoundly solitary creatures. They are the ultimate introverts of the animal kingdom. They do not form herds or packs or families. After a young sloth leaves its mother, it will spend the vast majority of its life alone. Each sloth maintains its own home range, a territory of a few acres that contains a selection of its favorite trees. Fact number 42. A sloth may have a home tree, one that it prefers and spends a great deal of time in, but it will roam throughout its territory. While their ranges may overlap, sloths seem to actively avoid one another. They live in a state of quiet, mutual respect for personal space. Imagine a life free from social pressure. No hierarchies to navigate, no complex relationships to maintain. Just the simple, direct connection between the individual and its environment. There is a purity to this solitude, a state of being that is wholly self-contained. This solitude is only broken for one reason. Fact number 43. When a female sloth is ready to mate, she will climb to a high branch and emit a loud, high-pitched call. It is often described as a scream or a whistle, a piercing sound that cuts through the dense canopy. This is the sloth's version of a lonely heart's ad. It is her signal to the solitary males in the surrounding area. Hearing this call, the males will begin to move toward the sound, and they will move at their usual, unhurried pace. Fact number 44. If two males happen to arrive at the same female, they will engage in what is surely the world's most slow-motion fight. They will hang by their back legs and take long, lazy swipes at each other with their claws. Eventually, one will either be knocked off the branch or will simply lose interest and wander away. The victor is not the strongest or the fastest, but simply the most persistent. We've mentioned how sloths navigate their world. Their eyesight is not their strongest sense. Fact number 45. Sloths are thought to be colorblind, and their vision is quite poor in bright light. Their world is a soft-focus blur of shapes and shadows. To compensate, they rely heavily on their other senses. Fact number 46. The sloth's sense of smell is excellent. They navigate their territory through a map of scents, recognizing individual trees and marking their own territory with scent glands. And then there is that face. Fact number 47. The facial structure and coloration of the three-toed sloth give it the appearance of having a gentle, permanent smile. It is not, of course, an emotional expression in the human sense. It is simply the way they are built. And yet, we humans are drawn to it. We project our own feelings of peace and contentment onto that serene face.
We see in the sloth a creature that has found a kind of enlightenment, a quiet joy in its simple existence. And perhaps, in our own way, we are not wrong. The behavior of the sloth is a living demonstration of a simple, powerful philosophy. Do less. Conserve. Be quiet. Be still. Blend in. And when you move, move with a purpose that is so slow, so deliberate, that it becomes a form of meditation. Let that stillness seep into you now, a deep, quiet calm that smooths the furrows of your brow and slows the racing of your mind. You are hidden. You are safe. You are at peace. We have spent our journey so far high in the dry, airy world of the canopy. But the rainforest is a world of water. It flows in the rivers below, it hangs in the humid air, it falls in torrential downpours. And our next chapter reveals a surprising truth. This creature of the trees is also a master of the water. This is Chapter 5, The Surprising Swimmer. It seems like a contradiction. How can an animal that is so famously, so profoundly slow and awkward on the ground be at home in the water? If you have ever seen a sloth on the forest floor, you understand the problem.
Fact number 48. On land, a sloth is almost helpless. Its hind legs are too weak to support its weight for walking, and its claws are curved for hooking, not for standing. To move on a flat surface, it must dig its front claws into the earth and drag its body forward. It is a slow, laborious, and incredibly vulnerable process. A sloth on the ground can move at a top speed of about 1 foot per minute. A garden snail could outpace it. Given this, you would expect a sloth to sink like a stone in water, but the opposite is true. Fact number 49. Sloths are magnificent, surprisingly graceful swimmers. They will willingly drop from a tree branch into a river to cross from one patch of forest to another, to find a mate, or to escape a flood. And in the water, they transform. Fact number 50. A sloth can swim 3 times faster than it can crawl on the ground. Its long, powerful arms, so clumsy on land, become perfect paddles. It uses a long, sweeping breaststroke, its head held high above the water, that serene smile pointed toward the far shore. It does not splash or struggle, it glides. What makes this possible? The secret lies back in that remarkable digestive system. Fact number 51. That enormous, slow-working stomach is not just full of leaves. It is also full of the gases produced by fermentation. This makes the sloth incredibly buoyant. It is like having a built-in life preserver. The water supports their weight, freeing them from the clumsy mechanics of their own bodies. In the water, they are weightless. Imagine that sensation. The transition from the heavy, effortful drag across the ground to the cool, fluid embrace of the river. The feeling of your body being held, supported, of moving with a grace and ease that seemed impossible just moments before. It is a liberation. It is a reminder that our own strengths and weaknesses are often a matter of context. We all have environments where we struggle, and we all have environments where we flow. The sloth's aquatic abilities go even further. Fact number 52. Sloths can slow their heart rate down to less than 1/3 of its normal pace. This allows them to conserve oxygen to an incredible degree. As a result, they can hold their breath underwater for up to 40 minutes. 40 minutes! That is longer than many marine mammals, like dolphins. This extraordinary ability allows them to hide from predators by simply sinking beneath the surface, or perhaps even to forage for aquatic plants. This mastery of the water adds another layer to our understanding of this creature. It is not just a passive hanger. It is a versatile survivor with a hidden talent that defies all our expectations. But this brings us to one of the greatest and most dangerous mysteries in the life of a sloth. Its swimming ability may be useful, but why would it ever risk that perilous journey on the forest floor? The answer is tied to a weekly ritual. Fact number 53. About once a week, the sloth will do something that seems to go against all its survival instincts. It will slowly, painstakingly climb all the way down from the safety of its high canopy home to the base of its tree. This is the most dangerous moment in a sloth's life. On the ground, it is exposed. Its camouflage is less effective. It is an easy target for a passing jaguar or ocelot. So why take such a profound risk? It does all this to go to the bathroom. Fact number 54. At the base of the tree, the sloth will dig a small hole with its little stubby tail, defecate into it, and then cover it up with leaves before beginning the long, slow climb back up to safety. This behavior has puzzled scientists for decades. Monkeys and other tree-dwelling animals simply relieve themselves from the canopy. Why would the sloth, the ultimate energy conserver, expend so much effort and take such a terrible risk for this one act? The leading theory is beautiful in its complexity, and it brings us back to that miniature ecosystem living in the sloth's fur. It is called the moth fertilization hypothesis. Fact number 55. The sloth descends to the ground to maintain its garden. Remember the sloth moths? They need to lay their eggs in sloth dung to complete their life cycle. By descending and depositing its waste at the base of its favorite tree, the sloth provides a nursery for its moths. In return, the moths, as we've learned, help to fertilize the algae in the sloth's fur. Scientists believe the sloth may then absorb vital nutrients from this algae, either through its skin or by licking its fur. In essence, the sloth risks its life once a week to tend its own personal farm. It is an act of reciprocity, a partnership written into the very fabric of its being. It is a slow, deliberate, and dangerous dance that connects the world of the canopy to the world of the forest floor, all for the sake of its tiny winged companions. Let your mind drift with that image.
The slow, rhythmic paddle of the sloth in the cool water. The feeling of weightlessness, of being carried. And the deep, mysterious purpose of its descent. A journey into danger for the sake of a relationship. It is a story of connection, of hidden depths, and of the surprising ways that life finds to support life. And now, as you float in your own state of quiet, of suspension, let the gentle currents of sleep carry you wherever they may lead. Our journey has taken us through deep time, following the echoes of giants. We have explored an anatomy built for stillness, a metabolism that runs on an ember's glow, and a life of quiet solitude hidden in plain sight. We have even plunged into the cool, surprising embrace of the rainforest rivers. And now, as the night deepens around us and a profound quiet settles into the world, we turn to the most patient legacy of all, the creation of new life, passed from one generation of slowness to the next. This is our final chapter of Facts, Chapter 6, A Legacy of Patience. The life of a sloth, so solitary and self-contained, begins with a moment of profound connection. After the female's piercing call has been answered, and the slow-motion courtship is complete, a new life begins to form. The gestation period for a sloth is long for a mammal of its size, a theme we have come to expect. Fact number 56. A three-toed sloth will carry its young for about 6 months. For the larger two-toed sloth, it can be nearly a year. Inside the mother, the new sloth develops at the same unhurried pace as the world it will soon inherit. And then comes the moment of birth, an event that is a true high-wire act of nature. Fact number 57. The mother sloth gives birth while hanging upside down, high in the canopy. She does not build a nest. She does not seek the shelter of a hollow log. She relies on her own strength and the instincts of her newborn. As the baby emerges, a tiny, wet, and fully formed creature, it is guided by one all-powerful instinct: to hold on. Imagine this moment. The baby, with its eyes open and its claws already strong, must immediately find purchase in its mother's fur. It must climb, hand over hand, up onto the warm, safe harbor of her belly and chest. Sometimes the umbilical cord acts as a life-saving bungee, a temporary safety line until the baby can secure its grip. From the very first second of its existence, the sloth knows that its survival depends on its ability to cling to what is essential. Let yourself feel that sensation now, the feeling of holding on, not with a tense, anxious grip, but with a deep, instinctual certainty. The way your body is held by the bed, the way your head is supported by the pillow. It is a feeling of security, of being exactly where you are supposed to be. Fact number 58. For the next 6 months, and sometimes up to a year, the baby sloth's world is its mother. She is its home, its transportation, and its source of food. It clings to her fur as she moves through the canopy, a tiny, living backpack. It is so perfectly attached, it can look like a seamless part of her own body, a second skin of fur. During this time, the bond is absolute. How does a young sloth learn the complex map of the rainforest? How does it know which of the thousands of plant species are safe to eat? Fact number 50. The education of a sloth is an intimate, chemical process. The baby learns by tasting what its mother tastes. As she chews on a leaf, the baby will lick the fragments and the sap from around her mouth. It is a flavor imprint, a lesson passed directly from her body to its, teaching its own gut microbiome which leaves are friend and which are foe. The baby is not a silent passenger. Fact number 60. If a baby sloth becomes separated from its mother, it will emit a loud, high-pitched, and surprisingly bird-like whistle. It is a sound of pure distress, a beacon in the vast greenness of the forest. And the mother's response is one of the few times you will ever see a sloth move with something approaching urgency. She will move as quickly as she can to retrieve her lost child, her own calls answering its, a lifeline of sound across the canopy. As the months pass, the young sloth grows stronger. It begins to reach out from the safety of its mother's chest, tentatively sampling the leaves she is eating. It learns the pathways through the branches, the feel of the bark, the scent of the rain. It is a slow, gentle apprenticeship in the art of being a sloth. And then, one day, the apprenticeship is over. Fact number 61. The weaning of a sloth is a quiet, simple act of letting go. The mother will find a safe and suitable part of her own territory with plenty of good leaves, and she will simply leave. She will move to another part of her home range, leaving the young sloth to fend for itself. It is not an act of abandonment, but an act of trust.
It is the final lesson. You are now the keeper of your own stillness. You have learned all you need to know. Suddenly alone, the young sloth must put all its inherited and learned wisdom into practice. It must find its own way at its own pace. It is a testament to the power of these quiet lessons that so many of them succeed, finding their own small territory and beginning the long, slow, solitary cycle of their own lives. And how long is that life? Fact number 62. In the wild, sloths are thought to live for around 20 to 30 years. In the protective environment of captivity, with no predators and a ready supply of food, they have been known to live for over 50 years. Imagine that! Half a century of slow-motion living. A life spent watching decades of sunrises and sunsets from the same small patch of forest. It is a lifespan that speaks to the success of their strategy. The slow burn preserves the engine. But the world is changing, and even the sloth's masterful strategy of avoidance cannot protect it from all the new dangers it faces. The quiet, solitary life of the sloth is being increasingly interrupted by the loud, fast-moving world of humanity. Fact number 63. The single greatest threat to sloths is habitat loss. The rainforests they call home are shrinking. When forests are fragmented by roads or farms, the sloth's world is broken into pieces. A gap in the canopy that is too wide to cross becomes a wall. And trying to cross the open ground between forest patches is often a fatal journey. Fact number 64 introduces another modern danger: power lines. To a sloth, an electrical wire can look like just another vine, a convenient bridge across a clearing. But their powerful, unending grip becomes a tragedy when they take hold of an electrified cable. These are sad realities. But the story of the sloth is also becoming a story of human kindness and ingenuity.
Fact number 65. Around the world, and especially in places like Costa Rica, dedicated people have established sloth sanctuaries. These are rescue centers, hospitals, and orphanages for sloths that have been injured or left behind. Here, veterinarians gently tend to their wounds, and caregivers hand-rear orphaned babies, feeding them goat's milk from a syringe and providing them with stuffed animals to cling to, satisfying that primal, powerful instinct. We are learning to slow down for the sloth. Fact number 66. In many areas, conservationists are building sloth crossings, or wildlife bridges. These are simple rope bridges strung high above roads, connecting one patch of canopy to another. And the sloths use them. We are learning to mend the broken pathways of their world, to honor their need to travel, however slowly, through the trees. The story of sloth conservation is a poignant one. Fact number 67. Of the 6 species of sloth alive today, the pygmy three-toed sloth is critically endangered. It lives only on a single, tiny, uninhabited island off the coast of Panama. It is smaller than its mainland cousins and is a specialized mangrove swimmer. Its entire world is just a few square miles. Protecting this one small island means protecting the entire existence of a creature that has been millions of years in the making. It is a profound responsibility. The sloth, in its quiet vulnerability, seems to evoke a powerful sense of empathy in us. Perhaps it is that gentle, smiling face. Or perhaps it is something deeper. Perhaps we see in the sloth a reflection of a piece that we ourselves have lost. And so we come to the final facts in our journey, facts that are less about biology and more about the quiet wisdom this creature offers to a world that has forgotten the value of slowness. Fact number 68. The sloth's entire existence is a testament to the success of a non-competitive strategy. In a world obsessed with being the fastest, the strongest, the biggest, the sloth has survived by quietly opting out of the race. It found a niche that no one else wanted, the low-energy lifestyle of a leaf eater in the high canopy, and it became the undisputed master of that realm. It teaches us that there is power in choosing a different path. Fact number 60. The sloth is a master of living in the present moment. Its mind, we can infer, is not filled with anxieties about the future or regrets about the past. Its entire sensory world is focused on the here and now. The texture of the bark beneath its claws, the taste of a single leaf, the warmth of the sun on its fur, the gentle sway of the branch in the breeze. It is a life of pure, unfiltered being. It is a living meditation. And finally, fact number 70. The sloth reminds us of our fundamental connection to our environment. It does not just live in the forest, it is the forest. Its fur is a garden. It cultivates its own ecosystem. It fertilizes the trees that feed it. It is a perfect closed loop of reciprocity.
It understands, in a way we have forgotten, that we are not separate from our world, but a breathing, integral part of it. The health of the forest is its health. The fate of the tree is its fate. We have now traveled through 70 facts, through 65 million years of history, and deep into the heart of a creature that is a universe unto itself. And what have we learned? We have learned that slowness is a form of strength, that patience is a strategy for survival, and that in stillness there is a profound and abiding peace. And now our story comes to a close. The facts are finished, but the feeling remains. Let your attention zoom out now. Imagine the single sloth we have been watching, hanging peacefully in the deep, velvet darkness of the rainforest night. It is a small, warm point of life in a vast sea of green. Feel the weight of your own body, a warm, peaceful point of life in the quiet of your room. You are held, you are secure, just like the sloth. Now pull your focus back further. See not just the one sloth, but the whole tree it inhabits. A towering cathedral of wood and leaf, its roots deep in the dark earth, its highest branches touching the misty clouds. Pull back further still. See the entire rainforest, stretching for millions of square miles across a continent. A single breathing organism, the lungs of our planet. Inhaling the darkness of the night, exhaling the soft, humid mist of the morning to come. All the creatures within it, the silent sloth, the sleeping monkey, the prowling jaguar, are like individual cells in this one great body. All connected, all part of the same slow, rhythmic breath. Let your perspective continue to expand. Float up, above the canopy, above the clouds, until you can see the curve of the earth. See the Amazon rainforest as a great green jewel set upon the spinning globe. See the swirling white of the clouds, the deep, endless blue of the oceans. Our world, a single, beautiful living system floating in the vast, silent emptiness of space. Feel its slow, gentle rotation. It does not rush. For billions of years, it has maintained this patient, graceful spin, turning us toward the sun and then away into the darkness, in a rhythm so constant, so reliable, that we have built our entire existence upon it. The rhythm of the sloth is the rhythm of the planet. And now, zoom out even further. See the Earth as a small blue marble hanging in the darkness. See the moon, its silent companion. See the other planets of our solar system, each in its own slow, majestic orbit around the sun. A cosmic dance, choreographed by gravity and time on a scale that defies our everyday comprehension. There is no hurry here. There is only the immense, silent, patient turning of the cosmos. And you are a part of it. Your body is made of stardust. The iron in your blood was forged in the heart of a dying star billions of years ago. The water in your cells has been on a journey through clouds and rivers and oceans for eons. You are not separate from this cosmic dance. You are a living, breathing expression of it. So, let go now. Let go of the need to rush. Let go of the illusion that you are in control. Surrender to the slow, gentle cosmic rhythm that has always been here and will always be here. Feel the gentle pull of gravity, holding you. Feel the patient turning of the world, carrying you. The sloth is resting. The forest is breathing. The planet is spinning. The stars are waiting. And you can sleep. Sleep now. Sleep deep. Sleep.